Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Kim Piazza.
And I'm Phil Arno. And Western New York is celebrating an anniversary, the 40th anniversary of the blizzard of '77, arguably one of the most iconic weather events in the history of Buffalo. It brought the community together in ways nobody could have ever imagined. We dug out and we helped each other. It was the black eye for the area. People told jokes about weather for Buffalo, even to this day.
And one of the weathermen who got Western New York through what was quite an event is our friend Dan Neaverth, who spent countless hours on radio and television and has some unique stories to share with us today.
And I've got a shovel.
Just in case.
Just in case. You never know.
You learn to be prepared.
I'm prepared. In my car, they asked me, why are you just dressed like this? You know, when it's cold out. I have an emergency kit in my car.
What's in your emergency kit?
Okay, it's the biggest, heaviest, fluffiest coat you can imagine with a hood. I would never wear it unless I had to save my life, right? But during the blizzard and after the blizzard, we found out a lot of interesting things. A guy called who was a survival expert, and he said that if you were stranded somewhere and you felt that you were not going to be able to get out of there for a couple of days, obviously you're going to run out of gas. You have to be careful you don't gas yourself in the car, run it for a little while, then turn it off, then run it again. But when it gets really desperate, he said, cut this car seats and remove the padding and stuff it in your jacket, your pants and everything, and it will act as an insulator. I mean, now you don't want to do that if you have like a big expensive car like Phil.
Of course not.
No, of course you wouldn't do that. But if you have vinyl seats like my car, yeah, you could do that. So that was some of the stuff that came out of the blizzard, during the blizzard and afterward. But the biggest thing was, we were on the radio that morning and our newsroom got a call from Elliott Abrams of AccuWeather. Now, Elliott Abrams is a name that became pretty famous in Western New York because he and a partner founded AccuWeather in State College, Pennsylvania. They were college students studying meteorology. Then they started their own company. They worked for some ski resorts and trucking companies that needed to know about the weather. Well, they called that morning and Elliott told our newsroom, John Zach, he told John, you might want to say during a newscast that you might not get home from work today. And John starting to debate, should we use that? It's a little scary. Maybe we should hold off a little bit. So there was a debate in the newsroom. Finally, they decided to talk about it. And then as a disc jockey, I started talking about it. But the scary thing for us was we kept looking out the window and there was nothing happening. There was no snow, there was no wind, nothing like they were talking about. And every 15 or 20 minutes I'd get up because we didn't have a window in the studio. I'd run out, look in the parking lot, no snow. All the way through the show until 10 o'clock, we're warning people how bad it's going to be. And also in the back of our minds thinking we're going to really look stupid because this is not happening. And he told everybody to be aware of this and be prepared for it. At 10 o'clock, my boss walked down to the corner to cash his check in the bank. And when he came back, he had this much snow on the top of his head.
Oh, come on.
It was unbelievable, right? So at that point, it really started to happen. As they say, it hit the fan, okay, at that point. So being kind of wacky, I still am, okay, I decided I have to do something. Channel 7 was right across from the radio station, and Dave Thomas was the weather guy at noon. So I knew I wasn't going to be able to get out of there right away. So what am I going to do? I got to do something strange. I'm not back on the air yet. I took off my jacket. I took off my shirt, my undershirt, and I was stripped to the waist. And while he was doing the weather, I walked behind him. Now the snow was blowing around like this. You know, you can hardly see either one of us, but you could tell that I didn't have a shirt on and I'm out in the storm, right? And I walked behind him and I very casually said, Dave, what's the weather look like for today? And now he didn't know I was going to do this.
Oh, no.
So he looked at me and he said, I think it's going to get bad. I think you better get inside. Right? Okay, so now I went back inside and got dressed up, called my wife, called Marie, and I said, you know what? I'm going to try to work my way down Clinton Street because it looks pretty bad, and I'm going to go to a movie theater in the Value Plaza. and I'm going to see 3 movies. And by the time I see the 3rd movie, it'll be cleared up, you know, and I'll come home. So she said, okay, good luck. I worked my way down Clinton Street. I stopped at Ben Glazer's service station, and that's when they actually come out and pump the gas for you.
Ooh,
oh,
the good old days.
A guy would come out and pump the gas for you.
Did they charge you extra for that?
So I went inside. Now there were probably 10 people inside, all huddled around like this, and I figured, what am I going to do if it gets really bad? I know, I'll buy 10 candy bars, okay? And that'll save my life if something happens. So I don't even like candy that much. So I bought 10 candy bars, and I'm waiting for him to finish pumping gas in my car. And there's a guy over in the corner, he kept staring at me. Now, I was not known very much on television at that time, but he recognized that I had been the guy walking behind. And he said to me, he said to me,
"You're crazy?"
He said, "It's all your fault. God is punishing us because of what you did." What? True story.
Now we know.
True story.
Now we know.
Yeah.
Oh,
so I get back in the car, and I drove to the Value Plaza, went in the theater. There were probably 7 or 8 people there, okay? I can hardly wait. I'm going to get some popcorn. Oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to sit here all afternoon, a couple movies, okay? Guy comes walking down the aisle, and he said, the projectionist can't make it in, so there won't be any movies. But feel free to buy popcorn.
Oh, no.
So I sat there probably for about 4 or 5 hours, and we didn't have cell phones. Somebody called the theater. They had heard that I was there, and they said, we'll come down and get you and take you back to the radio station. So a guy came with a 4-wheel truck, and we got back to the radio station, and I went on the air and talked about my experiences, and we're getting calls from people. And I was able to get home every day for this whole period of the storm, sometimes only for an hour, to shower, have something to eat, kiss Marie and the kids, and then go back again. So it was an amazing, amazing time, scary time for a lot of people.
Yeah.
In a sick way, it was probably one of the best things that ever happened for my career, because we were the number 2 rated morning show in the city. Clint Buhlman at WBEN owned the city for years. My mother and father listened to Clint Buhlman. He would talk about the weather, he would talk about traffic looking out the window on Delaware Avenue. He literally owned Buffalo radio in the morning. So if you were number 2 in the morning, that was good enough, okay? That's all we had hoped for. If I could be number 2, wonderful. But he got a little cranky during the storm. He didn't handle it the way we did. We were telling people, you know, we realize how terrible this is, and people had died during the storm. I mean, it was really, really scary for a lot of people, and we kind of reassured them. The National Guard's coming. Here's a store that's open where they have some bread, and they have milk, and they have things you need, and here's a fire department that you could call, and they have snowmobiles. If you have somebody sick in your house, they might be able to get you into the hospital. So we were a conduit of information to people that made them feel a little more secure, even as scary as it was for them.
Sure.
Because you figure, a woman at home with small children, her husband, she doesn't know when he's going to be there. Okay? How much food do they have in the refrigerator? How can they save themselves from if the roof falls in on them or something? So it was an amazing time, and a million stories. Everybody who was around at that time knows where they were during the blizzard of '77 and knows what happened to them, what happened to their family, what happened to their car. You know, that was it.
It was an incredible event because there were so many different elements that came together to create this blizzard. One of the trivia questions that I just made up for bragging rights, and we'll see who's watching that they can answer.
Are you going to give the answer?
I'll give the answer.
That's on this too.
How much snow fell during the blizzard?
Not a lot.
Okay.
How much snow?
12 inches.
How is that possible?
12 inches of snow.
Explain that. Explain that.
The lakes froze early that year. It was such a cold season, and we had a really, really snowy year. I mean, 200 inches for the year. 203 inches fell that season. And the Lake Erie was covered with this fine powdery snow.
That had
the winds
already
came
fallen.
in at 50, 60, 70 miles an hour,
Okay.
blew all that snow right onto the city, just dumped it right onto the city. And the visibility, I mean, was, the snowplow drivers had to go back to the barn because they couldn't see the blades. They couldn't see what they were plowing.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It was
they just,
amazing.
it was a standstill in the city. Came in around, like Danny was saying, late morning. If you were on the streets at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, nothing was going on. At 11:30, it hit. It hit, and everybody just, you know, didn't know what to do, and traffic started to back up, and people went slower and slower, and then everything stopped. And if you, right at 11:30 or noon, wherever you were, that's where you stayed for the next couple of days.
Where were you?
I was downtown and started north, and actually got to the north towns by noon. So I just, at 11:30, I saw it getting bad, and I ended up going, you know, slowly to the north, and I managed to get out.
I have no recollection of the storm.
Wow, because you're only 20 years
I
old.
was, exactly. I was much too young to remember anything about this storm. And I mean, these are great stories. They almost don't sound like they could possibly be real. But so I'm going to ask you guys.
Wait a minute, you doubt?
I don't
the
doubt.
veracity of our
I
information?
would never doubt the veracity of anything that either of you gentlemen bring to the
You know
table.
what? I'm excited that I used that
The word.
Yeah,
That's a $20 word.
exactly.
So how far north did the storm go?
The storm, I'm not familiar with how far north, but I'm sure it was up to Youngstown, Niagara Falls. And
it was way
but
beyond
Canada, I
Amherst.
don't think suffered as much as we did.
No,
But
it was right into Niagara County, though. It was
Okay.
way into Niagara County.
Well,
and it was down to the state line in the other direction, to
my
the south.
experience was, of course, in the South Towns and trying to get home. And I did get back to the radio station every day, sometimes by snowmobile, sometimes sheriff's department cars. Other times, John Zach, our newsman, had a snowmobile. And I had never been on a snowmobile. So when the snowmobile club picked me up the one day, I'll never forget the guy telling me, he said, okay, get on the back of the snowmobile, hang on to me, hang on tight. But he didn't say if we tip over. He said, when we tip over, don't put your arm out like this because it'll break your arm or your shoulder. Okay. So I said, well, what do I do? He said, well, you roll. Okay. If you go off the snowmobile, kind of roll away from the snowmobile in the snow. Okay. Now we're driving over cars.
Yeah.
All you could see was the antenna sticking up from the car, right? So John Zach told me, I think it was the third day maybe, he said, look, I have a snowmobile. And he said, I'm going to put it in my van because the furthest distance I could travel into the South Towns was the library in Orchard Park. I couldn't get any further south, couldn't drive. Everything was shut down. So he said, I'll drive you as far as the library. I'll have the snowmobile in the car, in the truck. And he said, you can take it home and I'll meet you the next morning at the library and I'll just take you downtown. Okay, so now I'm kind of excited. I'm going to get a chance to drive a snowmobile. Okay, I had never been on one before, so
that doesn't sound dangerous at all.
so
that doesn't sound fraught with issue.
So like
what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Like so many men, I'm not too good with instructions. You know, I just want to do it. I just want to do it. I don't want you to tell me how to do it. Like, I want to do it. So we get out of the machine, we get out of his truck, he pulled the snowmobile out. Now he said, no, pay attention. You got to do this. You got to turn this, you got to push this, and you pull this. And if you don't do it in that sequence, it's going to stall and it won't start for you. So, okay, so tell me what you have to do. I said, well, yeah, I'll remember. I'll remember, okay. But I said, just to be safe, you started, okay? So he did it. He started. Now I get on the snowmobile. I go home. I get home, right? So instead of, I'm a little nervous. What if I turn it off and I can't get it going again? All right? So I'll let it run for a while until I figure out I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to give my kids and all the kids in the neighborhood a ride on the snowmobile. Okay? So we're riding around. I was a big hero in the neighborhood.
Sure.
Okay? So we're riding around. Now, what if I run out of gas? I'm going down into Boston and I'm going to get gas. But I wanted to be safe. I wanted to know how to get it started, but I couldn't quite remember everything he said, so I'm not going to turn it off while I'm putting the gas in it. Not a good idea. Don't do that. If you're a snowmobile, don't fill your snowmobile while the snowmobile is running. kind of unsafe, okay? So I filled it like this. Okay, fill the snowmobile like this, kind of protect my body, trying to protect my face. Okay, filled it up, everything was fine. Get back home, now I have to turn it off, time to go to sleep. Next morning, my young son, Dean, wanted to go with me on the snowmobile to meet Mr. Zach and go to the radio station. So I said, okay, as soon as I give you a signal, you run out, get on the back and hang out, okay? So I did all the stuff that I was supposed to do. I pushed this, turned this, pull it, started right. I was amazed, okay? So I go, okay, come on. He comes running out, he jumps on the back. Now, you know how bad things happen in slow motion?
Yes.
Okay. He's behind me, and for some reason, I see his hand come over my shoulder like this, and there's a button on the dashboard, and the button says kill. Okay, that's what this says. It says
If there's a red button, push it.
Yeah, it said. Okay, so he pressed the button. The snowmobile stopped. Okay.
And can I ask you, Dan, to hang on to the rest of that story?
Yeah.
Because
To
we're
be
gonna-
continued.
To be
Yes.
continued. More with Dan
Now, that
after
was a
this break.
tease.
Dan and the red button. I'm just being serenaded here. I'm being serenaded by Danny Neaverth. It's wonderful.
Well, that's a once in a lifetime.
It is,
yes,
and hopefully it never
experience.
happens again. But I jest.
Yeah.
But we're dying to hear the end of the
Oh,
story
the
with the
story has
red
a-
button.
Okay.
The
kill
boy
switch,
and the red button.
It could be tragic, but it has a happy ending. So my son reaches over me in slow motion, hits the kill button, thing stops. I turned around and I said, go in the house, go to your room for the rest of your life. Now he's only, Dean is only about this big, right? So he goes in the house.
The rest of your life.
Now I'm standing, I'm trying to figure out how to start the snowmobile, and I look over, and here he is, and he kept getting smaller. He's looking out the door, and he's getting smaller and smaller. So finally I did all the stuff, and it started, right? So now it's like, do I punish him because he did that, or, okay, come on. So he came running back up, gets on the back of the snowmobile.
He does
and
it again?
Yeah, it started. Okay, he did. No, don't touch anything. So he said, I looked at him and I said, Dean, why did you do that?
Right.
Okay. And he said, well, because I thought it was the horn. And I said, it's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to blow a horn? We're in the driveway. So we went on our way, and it was a happy ending. He was happy, I was happy.
Oh my gosh, for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
You know, we have an interesting photo from Facebook. Paul Hook sent us a picture of the National Guard.
Oh yeah, they called the National Guard in.
And of course, Dan, you said you were announcing
When
that
we
the
were
National
announcing the
Guard
National
was
Guard
on
was
its way.
coming, people were so relieved. I mean, they
Yeah.
really felt, okay, we're going to be okay now.
Yeah, it was
And,
reassuring. So Paul sent
there
us
was-
this photo, which thank you so much, Paul.
So
And
much
I have a
snow.
headline here.
You
too. Look
do?
at this. The Blizzard of 77, a little yellow, okay? But that came from the Buffalo Evening News when it was the evening news.
And it made enough of an impact on you that you saved that.
No, that was for the
all
first
these
time in
years.
its history, the Courier Express failed to put out a paper during the blizzard. 143 years, and that was the first time they didn't make a publication.
Well, you know, we learned so much from the Blizzard of 77. You mentioned earlier on in the show that people still make fun of us in other parts of the
Oh,
country.
yeah.
Where are
Oh,
you from?
jokes.
I'm from
Blizzard
Buffalo.
jokes.
Okay, I'm from Buffalo. Oh, it snows there in August, right?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. No, they have more snow in Syracuse. They have more snow in Rochester. They have more snow in Albany than we do. Okay.
We've got a bum rap.
But yeah, we got a bun rep. But we learned from it. We recovered from it, and it's just an amazing thing. And I'd like to leave you with this thought. When you walk through a storm,
No, wait,
head
time out, Dan, time out.
high.
Before you sing us out, I want to hear about Phil's dad and some yummy pie.
Oh yes,
No,
yes.
No, that's right. Yeah, my dad had a business on Seneca Street, just down from Chef's, and there was a bus that broke down or got stuck right in front of the business, and 35 people pile out of the bus into the business, and all he had was coffee. That was it, coffee. But luckily, right behind the bus, Paul's Pies, a truck with Paul's Pies broke down.
That's
and he went
fortuitous,
in.
right?
And for the weekend, this was Friday around noon, 12:30, until Monday morning. They were there with coffee and Paul's Pies. 40 people.
The only thing that
basically,
could have been better
was
than
it.
that is if Russ Salvatore's truck
Right,
they could have
right,
steaks and
right,
They could have been at chefs, yes. It would have been.
Perfection.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, I just had dinner at Russ's. It was so good.
Oh, yes.
But yeah, okay, so we've got pie over here.
Paul's Pies and
Dan and
popcorn in the
Dan
in the
Neaverth is
theater.
singing to
when
us.
you walk through a
We wanted to be uplifting.
I
We
wanna
didn't want it
know-
to be a bad.
I want to know if he's going to hit the high
experience.
note.
and don't
Phil,
be
sing harmony.
afraid of
No,
the
that's
snow.
all right. You can go ahead. Well,
At the end
this
of the
isn't the Gong Show.
snow,
Yes.
Surreal.
there's a
And he has a
wonderful
shovel in his hand.
sky and a man who can
WBBZ,
shovel
folks.
for you.
Tell your friends. Tell your neighbors.
On
Yes.
through the wind.
Well, so many stories exist of people and all the great things that Western New York came together to do during the storm.
One of the great moments in TV. Yes.
We'll be back with more
Yes.
right after this.
The boss says yes. Welcome back to Talk of the Town. WBBZ-TV is proud to support bowling. We love bowling. Bowling is
Bowling's
great.
fun.
We are our weekly Beat the Champ competition every Saturday afternoon at 4. And we support our friends at Junior Achievement. And their mission is to help children through a big bowling event.
And their Bowl-a-thon fundraiser is coming up on March 11th. And to kick off the campaign to get teams to sign up, John DeShulo and I joined their media personalities to compete for the coveted golden pin. Western New York, we're here with Lori and Tammy, and these wonderful ladies have pulled together this fundraising bowling event. Today we had so much fun throwing the balls down the lane. And Lori, last year, you know, I came in last, right?
I believe so.
Yeah. I didn't come in last this year.
Good for you.
I killed last place. I beat last place by 1 point.
Very good. That's an improvement. That's
Yeah.
all we hope for.
So when I walked in the door, Tammy, I think the first thing that she said to me was something about last place last year, wasn't it?
About last place, yes. And that there were going to be no bumpers, and we were sorry.
Yeah, I came because you said there'd be bumpers. But beyond that, this is a fantastic fundraiser, and it's so much fun. And the work that Junior Achievement does, it's really important to the Western New York community. And so, Tammy, Lori, who wants to give us a quick tidbit about Junior Achievement and what you guys are doing?
So, Junior Achievement's mission is to empower young people to own their economic success. That would be our tagline. And we do that with community volunteers that go out into the classrooms, grades, kindergarten through 12th grade, and deliver our entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and career and work readiness programs. So we can allow our young people to dream big and reach for the stars.
That's actually really awesome. The idea that we're growing wise, folks, and we're teaching our young people to go out, get it, and own it. Get out and do it. Nobody's going to do it for you.
That's right.
And I'm sure that you're also encouraging these kids and making sure they understand they're capable.
Yes, very much so. And we do that with community volunteers that go into the classroom to actually tell them about what they do in their job. And by them doing that, it's helping validate the teacher as well, because they're presenting programming materials that we give them that the teacher's already going through, but now it's coming from a different voice.
So tell us about March. We've got something great coming up in March.
We do. We have our 33rd annual JA Bowl-a-thon, and that's our largest fundraiser. A lot of nonprofits will do a walk or a run or a ride. We don't. We bowl. So in March, we'll bowl on March 4th and 11th, and we'll have 5 locations for folks to choose from to come out and bowl. And it's a great way for companies to get folks together and boost morale and also raise funds for a great cause. A third of our budget comes from this event, so it's really huge and does make a huge difference to the students we're able to serve.
Well, it's a great event. It's been very successful for Junior Achievement. Where are you at so far with your fundraising to date with the Bowl-a-thon?
Well, that Tammy could tell you better than I, but
Okay.
we certainly are hoping to meet the 166 or exceed it, and we can do that with the help from the community to bring teams out. They don't have to be corporate teams, it can just be friends and family. Go to our website, look up our Bowl-a-thon page, and put a team together.
Tammy, can you impress us with numbers?
I sure can. So our goal, as Lori said, is $166,000. Of that right now, with our great sponsors like WBBZ and others, we have about 30,000 of that done. Now, that means that between now and then, what's happening is the bulk of our fundraising all relies on our bowlers. They are so important to our event. And so that's what they're doing right now, is competing to win prizes from Delta for their fundraising efforts, Tops Markets and Tully's as well for fundraising prizes. So the goal for a bowler is $50 minimum, but a lot of them set their sights higher. They want a $75 bowler prize. And so they're setting those goals for themselves and their team so that they can raise the funds that they would like to and represent their company well too.
Well, thank you so much, ladies, for what you do for the community. Western New York Junior Achievement, it's a great thing to be a part of, and Western New York does it again.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We're here with some of the students who are a part of Junior Achievements. Let's meet them. And can you tell us your name and the school you're from?
My name is Joseph, and I'm from Hutch Tech.
Sam Palia from Hutch Tech.
Jacob from Hutch Tech.
Mackenzie from Thomas Edison. Brenna from Thomas Edison.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. And Joseph here is going to tell us a little bit about what Junior Achievement means to him, what he does with the program.
Junior Achievement is a good program to get into because it teaches you many life skills and just good things to have, like job. Like it teaches you how to do a good job, what skills to have during a job interview, and really.
Can you give us an example of something that you, Joseph, have personally learned through Junior Achievement?
It just shows you proper way, like when you want to make eye contact when you're doing an interview, and you don't want to like mess up too many times.
So it gives you a chance to develop maybe some interpersonal skills and to practice the job interview, the big scary job interview. Thanks, Joseph. Thanks, all of you. So Junior Achievement's doing great things, and here are some of the kids who are benefiting from it.
Now, Danny, when we had Kim competing, we tried to help her, okay? We put a little guy with a stick near the pins, right? And whenever she bowled, he would try and knock down the pins for her. She still only bowled a 16. I mean,
Well,
it was just a...
Because when I threw the ball, I accidentally hit him.
Yeah,
Why were you bowling with a grapefruit? I saw that big yellow
It
thing.
made sense in the time.
Anyway, Tom Puckett won.
He was
the winner.
Right, that's
You know,
right.
Congratulations. He didn't even cheat.
You guys are going to have to
So-
make fun of me after the
No,
show.
no, it's
Thanks
not
so
like
much
you're
for
a bad
watching Talk of the
person.
Town. Thanks for watching WBBZ. We'll see you next time.